So hello and welcome everyone, my name is Jay Dalsaniya and in this video we are going to solve the problem edit distance. Okay, so this question is very interesting and this is one of the variation of standard problems. So while solving this question, I'll tell you that which standard problem is required to solve this question and what should be your strategy to solve this question as well. Okay, so without wasting any further time, let's start the video. But before starting the video, do hit the like button and share down your approaches and views in the comment section below. So let's start the video. So the name of the question is edit distance, and trust me, what the name of the question is and what the question is, that's absolutely north south. Okay, so the name states edit distance, and the problem statement, and basically you will be given two strings str1 and str2, and you are supposed to return the minimum number of operations required to convert the string 1 into string 2. And there are three different operations provided. That is, one operation is that you can insert a character, second is replace a character, third one is delete a character from this string str1. Okay, so let me take an example and explain you in the best manner possible. So let's jump to the explanation part. So just a summary of the question: convert the given string str1 into str2. You will be given two strings and you can convert this str1 into str2 by these three operations which are allowed. That is, insert a character, you can either delete a character or replace a character. And what you are supposed to return? You are supposed to return that what is the minimum number of operations required for this conversion. So let's take a small example in order to understand this thing. So I'll say test case number 1. I'll say A, D and C, and this is your string number 1, and there is another string which will be given in the input. So I'll say A, B and C. So over here you can see these are two different strings, and your target is to convert this string 1 into string 2 by doing these three operations, okay, as many times as you want. Okay, but you are supposed to return the minimum number of operations. So now if I see both these strings, I have A, D and C, I have A, B and C. So I can see I can insert a character, I can delete a character, or I can replace a character. But it is observable that only this D and B are not matching. So if I convert this D into B, what will happen in this scenario? I will be getting A, B, C. So how many operations did I apply? I only applied a replace operation, replace only once. I only applied the replace operation and I did that operation only once. So in the output, what I will be writing down, in the output I will be saying that only one operation is required, that is minimum number of operation. Okay, along with this, let's take one more example, last example for understanding the problem statement, so you don't make any mistake while solving this question. So test case number 2, GEKES, or let's say K and S, and I'll say the string number 2 is GEK and S. Okay, so this is your string 1 and this is your string number 2. Now we are supposed to convert string 1 into string number 2. So here you can observe that some of the characters are already equal, right? So here you can see this KS, this KS, E is also equal, right? But I can see there is one extra character K and rest all the things are same. So if I get rid of this K, that means delete a character. If I apply an operation delete a character, then you can see that you can convert this string S1 into S2. And that is the minimum number of operations required, right? So for this test case number 2, the output comes out to be that only one operation is required. So now the main thing to note over here is that you are supposed to write down how many operations are required and not which kind of operations are required. So there is a difference between them. So you are not supposed to worry about what operations you are going to apply. You are supposed to worry about how many times you are going to apply any operation, and you are supposed to find the minimum number of operations that are applicable. So I hope this is clear to everyone, and if it is clear, then we can think about how to solve this question, right? So I was talking about there is some prerequisite to solve this question, right? So I told you in the beginning of the session there is some standard problem, and that standard problem's variation is this question, right? Okay, so just wait for me. So let me explain what kind of standard problem you need to solve it before solving this question. So here you have two different strings, right? So here you can see that there are some characters that are already matching in both this S1 and S2. You can see GE, EKS, and over here GE, EKS, Geeks, right? So here you can see there is only one character that is not matching. So here, in order to find out how many characters you need to basically manipulate or delete or replace, you need to find out what is common between them. Okay, so you can see that there are some characters that are common. Now when you find a character that is uncommon between both of them, at that time you need to think about some operations. Okay, so this kind of algorithmic logic is used in a standard problem called as longest common subsequence. So that is a standard problem of dynamic programming, and I highly recommend everyone to solve that problem, that is longest common subsequence. So if you have done that problem, then this problem solution is going to be a piece of cake. Okay, so that was my guidance for this question, and now we can think about how to solve this question. It's very easy to solve the question, so let's start the understanding on how to solve it. So I'll be taking the reference of this longest common subsequence and I'll be using the same strategy. But if you are new to this entire dynamic programming, or let's say you have not solved any longest common subsequence, then also it's totally fine. I'm going to explain in a very naive manner, like I'll be showing you like in a brute force manner how we will be solving this question, and from that I'll be constructing a valid optimal solution. Okay, so let's start. So here I need to compare the characters that are equivalent, and whenever I see a character that is not equal in both of them, I will think about applying some operation, right? And what are the operations? So I have three different operations. So I'll be selecting any of these three operations and I'll be working accordingly. So now I'll start the iteration. So here I'll start the iteration from right to left. You can start from left to right as well, but the code will change accordingly. So for me, it's very easier for me to explain in this manner from right to left. So I'm explaining in that manner. So here you can see the last character of both these strings, str1 and str2. Are they matching? Yes. So if they are matching, then do you think you need to apply any of this operation? No, I don't think. So I'll be saying that last two characters are matching. So what will be remaining? So I'll be having only the string AD and AB. These characters are yet to be compared, right? So now again, if I match the last two characters, what will happen? So I can see the last two characters, are they equal? D and B, are they equal? No, they are not equal. So I am supposed to convert somehow this character D into B. So you might directly think about, okay, so I'll just replace this D to B. Yes, but that's optimal approach, right? And how did you think about the optimal approach? By observing it. But when you will write down the code, you are not going to sit inside the compiler and observe each and every test case, right? You need some logic for it. So what I will do, I'll work in a naive manner. I will say that, okay, I have to convert this character D into character B, or let's say I need to somehow compare, and I have to change the characters. So I have three different operations. So what I will do, I'll try to apply all these three operations on these two characters, and I will find out the minimum of it, because the question says you are supposed to find out the minimum number of operations required, right? Okay, so now here you are sure at this stage of this string 1 and string 2, you are supposed to basically apply some operation, and it can be this operation, or this operation, right? So you are sure that at least one operation will be applied at this point of time, right? At least one operation. It can be insert, delete, or replace. We don't know which one is optimal. Okay, fine. So here what will happen? Let's say I apply the operation. Let's say I will apply the insert operation, and I'll try to find out what will happen. So I have string AD. Okay, I'll write down over here. I have this string AD and I have this string AB. Now I have to match this character B. So what I will do, I'll insert a new character B. So if I insert a new character, you can see both of them are matching. So you can delete this and you can think about the rest of the remaining characters in this string S1 and S2, right? So now what you will be having? You will be having the string S1 as AD and the string S2 as A remaining, right? Because you have inserted one B character and then they were matching. So you got rid of the last characters of S2 and S1, right? Okay, fine. Now what can be done over here? Now the second operation that you can apply is what? Delete operation. You can either delete a character, right? So I'll say I can delete the character. So let's say, what do we have? We have AD and we have AB. So what I will do, in order to make both these strings equal, I will delete this character D. So if I delete this character D, what will be having? What will be having? We'll be having A and AB. Okay, so I will be having A and AB. Okay, fine. Now the third operation that I can apply over here is what? I can either replace a character, right? So I'll be writing down somewhere over here. So this is replace a character. Okay, so how will you replace? So I have AD and I have AB. So that means I have to compare this B with D. So I'll replace this D and I'll change it to B. So you can see both of them are matching. So you can get rid of this and you can think about the other remaining characters and compare them, right? So what will be remaining in string S1 and S2? You will be having only A and A in both of them. Okay. So now here I am supposed to find out the minimum path, right? That will give me minimum number of operation, but I am sure that one operation is applied at this point of time. Okay, fine. Now this insertion. So now again I'll do the same thing. I'll compare the last character D and A. Now here you can see both of them are not matching. If they are not matching, I am sure that I will be applying one operation. It can be insert, delete or replace. So at this point of time, I am sure that I will be applying one operation, and which operation is not sure optimally. So I'll be trying out all these three operations. I'll say, what if I insert something? So in this case, I have, what do I have? I have A, D and I have A. So here I'll be inserting an A. So this both will match, and what will be remaining? Will be having only AD and an empty string. AD and the S2 will be empty, right? So now other thing that I can do is what? I can delete the character. So fine. So what I will do? I have AD and I have A. So in this scenario, I can delete the character. So what I will do? I'll delete this D. So if I delete this D, what will be remaining? I will be having A and A, right? So I'll be having string S1 and S2 as A. And what else I can do? So in this scenario, so other operation that I can apply is what? I can replace the character. So the string that I have is AD and I have A. So what I can do? I can replace this D with A. And if I replace with A, I can see that both of them are equal. So now I can think about the remaining characters. So I can think about that remaining characters in S1 and S2. So I'll be having only character A and the S2 will be empty in this scenario. Okay, fine. So I'm just doing a brute force solution of this entire test case. Okay, I'm not doing anything fancy. If you are aware about how brute force solutions are written, then this is what I am doing right now. I'm not using any optimal techniques or nothing. Just a brute force idea on what the question is expecting me to do, right? So now let me just change this and put it somewhere else because I need some space. So here let's say this is the replacement. So this is replace. Okay. So coming back to the second one. So over here in the delete operation, what did we have? We have this A and we have AB. So you can see the last two characters, they are not matching. So if they are not matching, you will be sure that you will be applying at least one operation, but don't know which operation. It can be insert, delete or replace. So now let's say if I insert something, if I want to insert something, what will happen in this scenario? If I want to insert something, so I have A and I have AB. So I'll be inserting a new character that is B over here, and I can see both of them will match. So now I can think about the remaining characters, right? So I'll be having only a character A and character A in this string S1 and S2. Now what else I can do? I can either delete a character, right? So I have string A and I have string AB initially. So I can delete a character. So what I will do? I will delete this character. So if I delete this character, what will be remaining? See, I am only applying the operations, whatever is the operation on replace or delete, I am applying it on the so-called S1 only, because I have to convert S1 into S2, not S2 into S1, right? So that's why I'm doing all the operations on S1 only. It can be insert, delete or replace. So now what is remaining? I have only an empty string and I will be having AB. So the other remaining operation that I can apply is replace operation. So let's say I have, what do I have over here? I will be having A and I will be having AB. So I am supposed to replace it. So here, in order to compare this A and B, I'll replace this A with B. So what do we have? We have both the characters will be same. So what will be remaining? Empty S1 and A inside S2. So I'll be having empty S1 and A inside S2. Okay. Okay, fine. So now for the last one. So over here, we applied a replace operation, and now comparing the last characters over here, what do we have? We can see that both of them are equal. So we can just move forward and basically worry about the remaining characters. But if we see, what do we have? We have nothing remaining, right? We don't have anything remaining inside S1 and S2. When both these strings are empty, what can you say? How many operations are required? So you will say 0 operation is required. Okay, fine. You're totally fine. So here, let's imagine that you are having some function, and that function will be returning some answer for the given string S1 and S2. Okay, I'm saying that there will be some function. Why? Because here you can see that if you have any string, let's say your string is ADC and ABC, what you are doing? You are comparing the last two characters, and if you find that last two characters are same, then you will be proceeding further with the remaining part of this string. And now here, when you have string S1 as AD and S2 as AB, what you will do? You will again compare the last two characters. If they are same, then you will ignore the last two characters and worry about the remaining characters. If they are not same, then you will be applying 3 operations and checking which operation will take minimum. Now, let's say after doing this thing, what you will do, again, you will compare the last characters. If they are same, then you will ignore the last characters and move forward with the remaining characters. If they are not same, then you will try out all these three operations. Now, what is the thing that you can think about? Like, why did I call it as a function? Because here you can see for any two given strings, you are applying the operations repeatedly. You are applying the operations repeatedly, same operations. Comparing the last two characters, if equal, then do this thing. If not equal, then apply insert, delete and replace. So here I can think about a recursive solution because same things are happening again and again for different test cases. So that's why I call it as a function, that every string will be handled by some function and they will be returning what is the minimum number of operations. Okay, so I hope you got an intuition like how did we reach at a recursive solution, by just looking at what the question is saying and solving according to the question in a very brute force manner. Okay, so now here what do we have? We have empty S1 and empty S2. So when both the strings are empty, now tell me how many operations are required to convert this S1 into S2? 0 operations, right? So now let's assume that this function, this is a function, will be returning what? It will be returning 0 to the function that is calling. So this is a function. Wherever you find two different strings, imagine that there is a function. Okay, fine. So here you got a response from the child function that 0 operations are required for this one. Now here also both the strings were equal, right? Both the strings were equal. What operations do you need, right? If both the characters are equal, you don't need any operation. So this one will also return a 0, that for solving A and A, converting A into A, 0 operations are required to this string AD and AB. Now AD, one operation we applied was replace operation, and we were sure that both of them are not same, so we might be applying either replace, delete or insert. So replace, by applying the replace operation, you got that 0 basically operations are required. Okay, fine. Now let's analyze this insert one, right? So insert says for AD, you got AD and string A. So again, you applied some operation AD and A. So at this point, imagine, have a look at this function. So here you have string S1 as AD and S2 as this empty string. Okay, fine. Now tell me, if you want to convert this AD into empty string, what operation can you apply? You have insert, you have delete and you have replace operation. So here you can see two characters are there and you are supposed to convert it into an empty string. So now you are supposed to get rid of these two characters. So that means you are supposed to apply the delete operations. And how many times? So you are supposed to apply delete operations as many times as this many characters are there, right? So how many characters are there? 2 characters are there. So delete operation will be applied 2 times over here to convert this AD into an empty string. So here this will say that I will be applying delete operation and I will be having 2 operations, that is delete operation. So this one over here, this delete operation will be applied, but you reached over here through insert operation. So don't confuse yourself among these two things, okay? Now over here, you can see both these characters are equal. Now tell me, if both these characters are equal, what you will do? You will compare both these characters and worry about the remaining characters, right? So just like this one. So here you don't have anything. So both of them are equal. So it will say how many operations are required. So it will say 0 operations, and here also both of them are equal. So you did not apply any operations. So this will also return a 0 to its parent function. Okay, fine. Now coming back over here, again the same scenario. Convert this string A into an empty string. How many operations are required? You need one delete operation, right? So it will say one delete operation is required. That is, one operation is required. So it will be returning a 1. Okay, fine. So now we are supposed to find the minimum number of operations. So for this current scenario where the string S1 is AD and S2 is A, insertion, deletion and replacement have returned their answer and said that this many operations are required in future. So insertion is saying that 2 operations I will be taking, and this deletion is saying I will take 0 operation, and this replacement is saying I will be taking 1 operation. Now tell me which is minimum among 1, 0 and 2. I can see 0 is the minimum one. So here this AD and A, this function will be returning 1, 0 plus 1 over here. Why? Because this deletion operation, this function is saying that 0 operations are required for these 2 strings. But for these 2 strings, we selected either insert, delete or replace operation. So either insert, delete or replace operation, at least one operation will be done. It can be insert, delete or replace. And what did we select? We selected delete operation. So +1 we already wrote down beforehand, right? So this 0, whatever answer is written, 0 plus 1, I will be returning to the parent function. Okay. Now coming back to this part over here. So here we have insert, delete and replace. So let's analyze the last over here. So here both of them are equal. So let's worry about the remaining part. And what do we have? We have empty strings as remaining. So they are already equal. So they will say we need 0 number of operations. We need 0 number of operations to convert S1 into S2. So it will say 0 number of operations. Now here, this both were already equal, right? So we did not apply any operation. So this will also say, I also don't need any operations. It will return 0 number of operations. Okay. So now here, coming back to this. So this is empty and this is AB. Now tell me how to convert this empty string into AB. You have insert, delete and replace. So obviously you need to insert a character A and a character B. So 2 characters will be inserted. Whatever is the length of S2, that many characters will be inserted. That many insert operation. So this will say I will be inserting how many characters? 1 character it will be inserting. So let me just change the arrows to somewhere else. So this will be returning that I will be needing 2 operations. And now over here the replace, again this is empty string and this is only single character. So tell me how you can convert this empty string into a single character? By inserting a character A. So whatever is the length of this character, that many operations are required. So this will say I need 1 operation. So now again selecting minimum between insertion, deletion and replacement. So 0, 2 and 1. I'll select 0. 0 plus 1 will be returned. And we know why we are returning plus 1 over here. And the reason for returning plus 1 is that we have applied 1 operation, that is an insertion operation. Okay, fine. Now this function over here, AD and AB, got a response from insertion, got a response from deletion and got a response from replacement. So what responses did it get? It get 1 for the insertion. Insertion is saying I will take only 1 operation to make this string AD equivalent to AB. And this delete operation is saying I will also take 1 operation. And this replacement is saying I will take only 0 operations over here. So here this 1 and 0, what is minimum? I can say 0 is minimum. So this AD string will be returning a 0 plus 1 over here, because we already know plus 1 for selecting one of the operation. So 0 plus 1 will be returned, and I can see that over here, in order to make this string ADC equivalent to ABC, I need, it will say how many operations? It will say 1 operation is required over here. So we already basically, what did we do? We solved it in a brute force manner, right? And we analyzed that, okay, recursion is required because we are doing same things again and again. So that's why I thought about recursion. And now as function is solving something, function will return some answer. So how it will return an answer, I have written over here. Okay, fine. So now let's try to write down a recursive logic of it, and then we'll be coding the same for the function. So over here, so let's say I have a recursive function. I have the length of this string. I have the length of the second string. I have string str1. Let's say I'll call it as str1, and I have string str2. Okay. So now here we'll be writing some base condition. Okay, fine. So we'll be thinking about the base condition just in few minutes. Okay. And then what I'll be doing, I will be checking the last 2 characters. So I'll be saying that if the last 2 characters, that is str of n-1, n denotes the current length. So n-1 will be the last index. So if both the characters are not equal, the last 2 characters are not equal. And here I need to mention this string as well. str1 n-1 is not equal to the last character of the string number 2. Then what I will be doing? So in this scenario, what you can do? You can apply 3 different operations. You can go with insertion, you can go with deletion, or you can go with the replacement, right? So over here, if I do the insertion, what will be the effect on the length of this string? So here we saw that in this AD and A, if I was inserting something, so here let's say the length of this first string is 2 and the length of the second string is, let's say, m equals to 1. Okay, so if I insert something, you know that these 2 characters will be matching and they will be gone as they are equal, right? And what change can we see? Earlier the length of this string AD was 2, now again it is 2. And what about the length of the string S2? You can see it has been reduced by 1, so it is now 0. So here I can say that if I do the insertion operation, string S1 will remain of the same length, but this string S2 will change by 1 and rest all the things remains same, str1 and str2. Okay, fine. Now for the deletion, let's see what happens in deletion. So here, let's take a scenario where we were deleting something. So here, yes, let's say AD was there and A was there. Now I am applying deletion operation, n equals to 2 and m equals to 1. I am deleting something. So what happens? So here the last characters, as they were not same, I applied the delete operation. So if I delete the last character, what impact do we see on the length of this first string? N minus 1, right? So one character is deleted. So I'll say n minus 1, the second string remains as it is, and str1 and str2. Now the replacement operation. So what happens in replacement? Let's see. So here let's say a scenario of replacement. So let's say AD was there and A was there. N equals to 2 and M equals to 1. Last two characters not same. So I thought about replacing the last character of S1. So I'll be replacing with A. Now they are same. So I will ignore both these characters and I will move and worry about the remaining characters. So N becomes N minus 1 equals to 1 and this minus 1 equals to 0. So here I can see it becomes N minus 1 and it becomes M minus 1. So here we have str1 and str2. Okay, so we applied 3 operations and this will recursively solve all these 3 things, right? And remember this thing, right? We are supposed to select the minimum out of it. So let's say we'll define a function and it will return the minimum out of it. So it will return the minimum. But as we are selecting one operation, it can be if you select this operation, then also one work you are doing, one operation is selected. If you go with this, you also one work is done. If you go with this also one will be selected, right? One operation is done. So I will be adding +1 over here and whatever is the answer, I will be returning it. Okay, so this was the case when last 2 characters are not equal. Now let's say if last 2 characters are equal, so else, inside else I will be having last 2 characters are equal. So what you will be writing down, let's see. So let's take a scenario of this A and A. So here you can see A and A, both of them are equal. Both of them are equal. So you will compare and worry about the remaining characters. So basically in both these strings, you will delete the last character and worry about the remaining length. So you will do n minus 1 and m minus 1 for the remaining string. So you will call a function by reducing the length of both the strings by 1, n minus 1 and m minus 1, and you will be having string 1 and you will be having string number 2, and I will be returning this thing. Okay, and that was it. So this was the entire recursion, but something important is remaining, that is our base condition. Okay, so we have written this entire thing. If not same, then 3 operation, insert and +1 for the operation, and if they are same, then ignore the last character and worry about the remaining one. Now how to think about the base condition? So in the base condition, now think about what values are changing in the function. You can see n and m, only these 2 values are changing, so your base function will be around it. So now tell me what I'll be saying. Let's say if n is equivalent to 0 and m is not 0. So I'm talking about a string that is S1 is empty and S2 is basically, let's say, AB. Now we are supposed to convert this empty string into AB. So tell me how many operations are required? Yes, insertion operations. I'll insert A and B. Only insertion can be done. Now how many insertion? The insertion equivalent to the length of this string S2 is required. So I can say if my n equals to 0 and m is not equal to 0, then my answer says whatever is the value of length, that many operations are required. Now let's change the scenario and let's see if your n is non-zero and the S2 string is 0. So I'm talking about a scenario AB, let's say S1 is AB and the string S2 is empty. Now we are supposed to convert this string into empty string. So how many operations are required and which operation? So obviously delete operations are required, only deletion can be done. And how many times? The length of the string S1 times delete operations will be done. So in this scenario, the answer will be what? Answer will be n. Okay, so this becomes my base condition. So I'll write down the base condition quickly over here. So if I see if my n becomes 0, I will be returning m as my answer, and let's say if my m becomes 0, then I will be returning n as my answer. So this is my base condition. Okay, fine. So this was the entire thing, and this is the recursive function over here which we have written. Now in order to optimize it a little bit, we can use the memoization concept over here, and I will show that how memoization can be done on this recursion in the coding implementation part. But I hope you got an entire idea on how to think on this kind of question. Start with what the question wants from you, right? and eventually you'll figure out you can do recursion or what can be done. Okay, but here I can see that some memoization like can be done, and there is a reason. Like, did you observe that here AA was a string, this was a function, and again you observe this AA function, here again the same function. So here you can see that repeatedly similar kind of functions are occurring. So there is no need of recalculating. What if I store the answer of this state somewhere inside some DP table? So right, I can directly fetch this answer and I don't need any recalculation. So when the string lengths are very huge, you will be needing so many recalculations. So it's better to apply the memoization solution. So now let's see the implementation part. I know it's quite a lengthy video, but I wanted you to understand how to think on this kind of questions, right? I did not want to just show you the dry run of it. Okay, so here I have done the implementation using so-called memoization. You can think about the top down afterwards as well if you have enough amount of time. Okay, so here this is edit distance function that we are supposed to complete. So I have extracted the length of the string s1 and s2, n and m, and I have used the DP table for memoization. Okay, so I have initialized this entire DP table with -1, and the length or the dimension are n+1 cross m+1, and I am calling this function where the arguments are length of the strings and the strings itself. Okay, so here we have written the base condition: if n equals to 0, return m, and if m equals to 0, return n. Okay, we understood what is this base condition, and I have made a, let's say I have applied a filter for DP, basically the memoization. I will check whether answer is already calculated, then I will not make the recursive calls. Okay, fine. Now if I have the characters that the last characters are not equal, then what I will do, I will apply either the insertion operation, this is the insertion operation over here. Okay, I'll apply the deletion operation, this is for deletion operation, and I will apply the replacement operation, and I have done a +1 for the operation that we have done. Okay, and if both the characters are same, last one, then I will just reduce the length of both the strings and call the recursion, and whatever answer is fetched, I will store it inside n, m cell inside DP table. Now here I have used a minimum function because I have 3 values, and in Java it is not like supporting a function that has 3 input values for finding the minimum one, right? So I have used the minimum function over here. I have wrote this function on my own. You can also write the implementation. Okay, and then this function will return the final answer, and then this return statement will print the output. Okay, so I hope you got an idea. So just a recap of entire code, you can have a look at it. And now let's try to click on this compile and run, and let's see what do we get. So here we can see the output is perfectly fine, compilation has no error, and let's try to click on the submit button. And we can see that the problem has been successfully submitted. And if we talk about the time and space complexity using this memoization, if you see like how many cells are there inside this DP table, n cross m. So here this loop is taking n cross m, and what about this recursion? So due to this filter, I call this as filter inside memoization because it behaves like a filter, right? So due to this filter, you can see that none of this cell will be calculated multiple times. So n cross m cells are there, and what is n cross m? It is length of str1 multiplied by length of str2, and the extra space that I am utilizing is equivalent to length of the string 1 multiplied by length of the string 2. That is the dimensions of both the strings, right? So this was the entire solution part. I hope you really enjoyed this solution, and if you really enjoyed this solution, then yeah, I expect a like and comment in the comment section below. So that was it from my end, and I will be seeing you in the next video. Till then, keep coding and keep watching Geeks for Geeks. Thank you everyone. Thank you for watching.